Hey guys, Dib the Awesome here to give you another Who Should You Buy video. This is the final part of the series here. I'm just gonna set up real quick. I gotta get the magic thing up. Okay, there we go. I got it up. So we're gonna talk about magic, light, and metal monsters as to the since it is the final part. I've talked about literally all the other elements except these three. These are the last one I have left. I have to use the monstergram because there is like I've literally waited or I've just missed all the opportunities where every single monster was in the shop. So we're just gonna use the monstergram. I'm gonna tell you. It's not gonna be like I'm not gonna talk about every single one. I'm just gonna be talking about like maybe beginner ones or really good beginner ones or like just really relevant stuff that everybody should totally get or like my opinion on them. Just straight up like that. And yeah, so we'll get right on to it. A really basic monster. Before I begin too, just because I name these things doesn't mean you should buy them. Just because I talk about how good they are and stuff like that, it doesn't mean you should buy them at 276. I'm not saying you should totally get this monster for 276. Only get the monsters you really need. If you really need something at the moment, this is the time. That's the time to do it. Is this time for Monster Week anyway? If it's something you missed or you just it's not haven't been on sale for a really long time, this is the time to get it. This is usually the time to get it and stuff like that. Uh, so yeah, straight up, Soten Cookie. Soten Cookie's a pretty, it's a it's a beginner friendly monster. Not the best base stats in the game, but really nice moves. He's got a really good set in terms of like AOE denying and AOE dazing. He's just a really nice beginner monster. Personally, I just kind of wait till he's out for an event. He was just out for the Fairy Tale event. You should totally pick him up in the future for like when he's out on an event and stuff like that. Maybe at some point you'll be able to get enough to rank him up, which will make him better. This guy is a really nice beginner-friendly monster. It gets down the basics of what a magic monster really does, and that's like status effects and all that jazz. Uh, Reptile, okay, I kid you not. Reptile is one of the top tier boosters in the game. He's not the best one, but he's really, in all honesty, he's the top one, and he's the most beginner friendly. You don't really need to spend any like gems on this because he's currently out in the team shop. But I do say if you really want to get used to competitiveness in this game, this guy's a great way to start on with the buffer side of things. He's a great buffer. He's got immunity to daze. He's got a lot of neat single target negative effects. He's a really good, again, he's just a really good basic buffer. I used him when in my first days of this game. It's really nice. The best beginner buffer, I will say that. He's not the best one, but he's one of the best ones. He is one of the best buffers in the game. Just one of them. I'm not saying he's the best. I'm just saying he's one of the best. A really beginner buffer. Really nice, really great. Matlier, I will say Matlier is pretty relevant in day and age meta. He's immune to possession. His single target attacks hurt, and he has a AOE negative effects, and he has a single target one, I believe, that gives two. Pretty awesome monster. I will say that this monster is pretty awesome. He's really great, really important in terms of competitive use. I'd say you will most commonly see this thing on defense. I will say that you will see this thing on defense for a great number of reasons. Just because he's immune to possession and his attacks hurt. This guy does not punch lightly. He hits you hard. He'll hit you so hard. This guy's really great. In terms of like just doing like really heavy single target damage and a lot of negative effects. He has like two negative abilities. I mean, like gives a two negative status effect. I mean, like status effects and stuff like that. Really decent. I would like to say real quick, if you see Galante and or Galante and Violet here, you do need these. You do need to pick these monsters up. I'm not gonna lie. They haven't been really much of a use lately, but they're used for the breeding events. You can imagine how important these things are in terms of breeding events. These things are really relevant. They're also really good. Violet has an AOE possession. A lot of single. I just believe she hits really hard too, or she has a lot of negative effects too, as well as Galeante. Yeah, Galeante. We'll just call him Galante. I know it's probably not the right way to say it, but he has. In all honesty, Galante is a really fast magic monster. He's got a lot of good single target possessions. He's got poison possession and a nightmare possession. Really combos well if you use it all on the same target. It's actually really nice. Really nice, really great. Uru is pretty great due to the fact he is one of the faster magic monsters in the category. He's not immune to possession, but he's one of the faster ones, so he doesn't really have to worry about things like Egg Eater. I don't know if he's faster. I don't know if he's faster than Violet, but he's faster than most of these. Most of these deniers and stuff like that. He's really fast, and he's probably one of the top tier. He's probably one of the top tier speedrunners, because I do believe his power is 465, and that's actually a really good speed. That's water tier speed. It's really nice. But yeah, again, AoE stunning, AoE dazing. Can also do an AoE damage buff. It's not, it's just damage though. Not too high, but it's something. It helps clear against negative damage. It can help you out of that. Even though negative damage isn't too much, it's not a fun thing to be applied to. It kind of hurts the damage of our damage dealer, so you do want to clear that up whenever necessary. So that's why that's always nice. Toy Master. Toy Master has a bunch of little neat things. Specifically, all of his moves do one effect and another random effect. So that's really nice. They all run on 2 turn cooldowns, not too high of a cooldowns. He can basically, like, if he needs to freeze something, he can freeze it. If he needs to stun it, he can stun it. That's kind of the main reason why you use them. You kind of pick and choose your your fights in your favor. That's basically why you use Toy Master. I think he's also one of the faster magic monsters in the category. I think or at least he might share the same speed as Uru. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know he's pretty fast though. Egg Eater. Egg Eater is pretty great. AoE blinding, AoE burning. Pretty good staple possessor in this meta. He might be. I was gonna say. Well, never mind. I was gonna say maybe like with the upcoming Alernian, he might not be used as much, but I don't think that's the case. At least I don't think that's the case. Burning and blinding is such a pain to get through. Burning and blinding so heavy. But yeah, he's not as fast. I will say he's not as with all these new these upcoming new faster magic monsters. This guy is starting to see some competition. He's starting to see it. I'm sorry if I'm all mumbly and stuff like that. I needed to drink of water actually. There it is. All right, sorry. Just gotta take a drink of water here. Really trying to push this to get this done. This was supposed to be done like yesterday, but I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh, the app game. That game's so much fun. I don't believe Gretchen or Mr. Flanky are out. Those are really cool monsters, but neither of those monsters are really out, or at least in the shop, so I won't really mention them. Mr. Flanky is really unique in the fact he can use stop time and then he can slow. He's a neat attacker. I will say that Mr. Flanky's kind of a neat attacker. He's not the best one. It's just a really interesting one. Gretchen's really great because she's one of the fastest monsters, if not the fastest magic monster in the game. With an AoE life regen, AoE shields, draining life moves. She's a really nice monster, but the catch to her though, all of her moves run on 4 turn cooldowns. Not the prettiest cooldowns in the game, but she also has Mirror. She makes up with those cooldowns too. All of her effects are really, really nice. And AoE life regen is so great in this game. It really is. With things like Demise, Plymouth, and Gretchen too. I kid you not, it's just such a great buff. AoE life regen, it saves you so many times. I've had so many times where I should have been dead, but I had the life regen to back me up. I had that life regen to heal me. It also really helps over time if you just deny the enemy too, so they can't damage you as you're healing up again. In all honesty, you heal up to 60% of your hit points for 3 turns. That's huge. That's really huge. And then you can just reapply it again. You can just keep reapplying the the regen, and it stacks with other things, especially with the shields. If you have life shields up, you can heal off, it can heal while you're being protected from damage too, like additional damage. It really combos well with shields. So Earth Monsters, she works really well with Earth Monsters, I will say that. She works phenomenally well. And Nature Monsters too. Nature Monsters works so well with her. Specifically Neemstress. I actually fought a game where Neemstress was on like defense, it was stacked up on life, ranked up a bit, and Gretchen, oh my god, it was a nightmare. The game lasted forever. It was such a long game. At some point I did win. At some point I did manage to secure 3 coins, but oh boy, was that hard. That was really hard. It was all luck at that point. Or like several moves missed, and I was so lucky. It's so heavy and stuff like that. The only problem with Gretchen, I will say, she doesn't have a deny. She's more so a supportive monster than a denier. I will say that. So yeah, if you really need a good supporter, she's there for you. Gretchen's there for you. She's not out yet, so yeah. Singularius. I do believe Singularius is in the store. Singularius is more so an extra guy monster. He can be used as a denier, but his deny is actually over time. Because he has to do he actually has to AoE stamina drain you. Plus he has to wait for that stamina leak to go up. So you will get to move once. That's his kind of drawback. He's not really a mainstream denier all that much. He's more so like an extra guy, can make everything dead in 4 turns. He can kind of set you up with that. Really nice. I think he's a really nice monster. He's a fun monster. If you're looking for a fun monster to mess around with, put him on a really tanky team. Oh my, it is so funny. It really is. Oh man. Houdini. Houdini was actually like just on a sale with the Monster Week. I hope you didn't get him because he's like in the sense of you were hoping that it was a really great monster, because he's really not. He's more so of an extra guy person. He's not really mainstream deny or like anything like that. He actually does a worse job. He does everything a magic monster like the meta magic monsters does, but worse. It's really bad. So I think his only like really really great thing about him is that 70. I think it was either 70% or 75% stamina drain. That was the only cool thing about him. Oh man, his cooldowns are really high too. Super Tomato. I will mention Super Tomato real quick. He's not going to be on the sale. He's going to be in the 72-hour event. And I do, if you really wanted an answer from me, if he was good or not, I haven't made the guide on him yet. I'm planning on doing that tonight. And I gotta say, along with learning, and of course I have to get that guide up too, but I have to say Super Tomato is looking pretty good. Tomato is really good. I don't know if it's going to be a top tier one, but it's a really good one. It's pretty great. I'm going to touch bases on it. Basically what he can do is he can two-turn possess something. That's really neat. And I think that's huge. If you can play around with it, I think he has I think he has a possibility of being one of the best. He's not the best, but I know he's top tier. He has to be top tier. There's just no way he's not. His stats are, like his moves are just really powerful. So yeah, that's it for magic monsters. Oh, I forgot I didn't mention Totem because I know he's not in this Monster Week, but he is a really great monster, and I think he'll probably come out the next one. I'm predicting anyway, and I'm going to touch so much bases on why you should totally get Totem. Totem's not out at the moment, so I'm not going to touch bases on that because he's not out yet. But Totem is really great. The next Monster Week event, if he is out, if he is on the board, I will be talking about him. I will be totally talking about this monster. White Pandolf, real quick. I think everybody would think I'm nuts if I miss White Pandolf. White Pandolf, he's a really nice monster. He's got a single target stun. That's really nice. AoE possession, also nice. He has 2 status effect move. Also really nice. This is like an AoE. It's an AoE too, so everybody gets like 2 status effects. In all honesty, those are really nice moves. You can get pretty much anything from stamina drain, like 100%, or like frozen or stunned. Oh man, it's just so much. Oof, gas. That was me belching. But yeah, that's pretty much it for magic monsters. Light monsters real quick. There's not too many. Demise isn't out yet. I would be touching bases on Demise, but she's not in the shop yet, so I can't really say Demise. Though she is really great, in all honesty. Demise is really one of the... I think she is one of the best. Or like top tier. Again, it totally depends. And on all honesty, any monster, it totally depends on the situation what the best is. But Demise is pretty solid. She is top tier. She's very top tier. And the fact she can prioritize double damage. Like straight up, like she can give it to somebody and they get to move right away. They don't wait. They get to move now. Which is really awesome. I can't remember if Incognita was on the board. I don't think she was. I think she was just part of a sale, so they wouldn't really put her up on the shop sale. But she's actually a really nice buffer. Again, this is another top tier AoE buffer. In the sense she gives double damage to everybody, including herself. And she hurts a lot. She hurts so much when she moves again after doing a double damage buff. She's gonna like do her 55 damage AoE, and you're gonna see your life points disappear. You won't even know what happens if she does that and she gets to move and she does that. Your life points are gone. Everything's dead. if not like if you don't have like a light monster on you, that's probably the only thing that's gonna be alive at this point, if even. But yeah, usually everything dies when she moves again after doing the double damage AoE buff, if they're not dead already. Lao Lao. I think Lao Lao is really great, especially if you, I will say pick her up late game. Pick her up late game and totally put really, really nice runes on her. I will say that. Put really, level, at least 8. Put level 8 strength runes and oh wow, she hits hard. She'll hit so hard. Because of her 75 damage moves. She has 270, in fact, I think she's only the only light monster at the moment. Yeah, the only light monster. In terms of, light monsters, she's the only light monster at the moment with 275 damage AoEs. Velgar has some pretty hard hitting ones. I can't remember the damage on those. Those are really high end damage moves. But in terms of a non-VIP monster, she has some really heavy. She has 2 heavy moves. This is huge. She's one of the few light attackers, along with Taiga and Leith. They're the only 2 at the moment, I do believe. And oh man, she hits really hard. Now that isn't to say Leith doesn't one up her in terms of the single target category. Leith actually, I think Leith had didn't he have a 91? I don't remember he has a 90 damage single target move. But what he really excels at is single target damage too. The only problem being he has no AoE. That's actually hurts him. The fact that he doesn't do AoE damage just really hurts him in terms of just 3-on-3 legendary wars. The damage from the single target damage is huge. But again, there's no AoE, and there are problems too with just having single target moves. If you really need a lot of things dead, Leith can't really do that. Leith needs time to do that. It's a matter of either a span of 1 to 2 turns or 3 turns, depending on how, your runes and stuff like that. What did you actually put on Leith? It totally matters on what you put on him. Sorry if my dog's barking. I can't control that. And you hear that? I'm sorry. It's my brother has friends over. Aran. I have not gotten to use Aran yet, but I totally think you should pick up on him at some point in your Monster Legends career. He has his main idea, he's a tank. He's a tank that excels at pulling the damage towards him, specifically the single target damage. Is he meant for securing 3 coins in a common war? No. Don't bring this guy to a common or uncommon war. Bring him to a war where everybody's cool, everybody can stand on their own 2 feet. So specifically rares to rare to epic wars. I say rares just because you can actually rank up your rares and stuff like that during sale times. You can buy cells for specific event rares, which are really rares. The event rares are usually really good, but the base stats and stuff like that, you can get those cells and rank them up. I highly recommend you do that. I highly recommend investing some time. So you may use this monster on defense, and for sure secure 3 coins. It's really strong. Excuse me. Hasai. Hasai is really neat. He's in all honesty, Hasai is more so a neat monster than he is a highly competitive one. He gives shields. That's kind of his main deal. He gives shields, and he does damage reduction plus blind. He does pretty much the thing. In all honesty, he does the thing Reptile does in terms of like one of his status moves. He does pretty much that, but he can spam it. And spreading that to everybody is really funny, actually. Oh man, it is so heavy on them when you can spread that damage reduction. Plus, they're blinded too, so even if they hit you, they're not doing as much damage as they possibly could. It's actually really heavy on them. His ultimate also like blinds and daze. That's also huge. Luxaurora, okay, another good beginner buffer, I will say, and even like late game, like competitive monster too, is Luxaurora, or even competitive people nowadays still use Luxaurora, despite like, Incognita, and all other new buffers that have been out lately. This one's a pretty good one, in all honesty. It refills all your stamina. What she basically does is she AoE stamina fills, removes negative effects, and can give double damage precision to a specific target. This is huge. She also has a spammable light damage move, which does a lot of damage. I think it's like, wasn't it like 80? It might be 80, don't quote me on that. But it does do respectable amounts of damage. The damage it does is respectably high. Almost killed it can almost, honestly, if you put like a strength rune on it, it can almost very much almost kill a dark monster, which is pretty heavy. It's especially huge. She might actually counter, in honesty, she might actually counter Barbatos if she gets to move before him, because she's gonna drain so much health from that Barbatos. If she gets that first hit in, she might not even be able to do the double damage. He might not be able to, just because he's lost so much health at this point. And she can clear things like burning too, so that's also pretty huge. Burning, stamina leak, anything you really need, she can clear that up. I will say she's a dot damage worst nightmare. She really is. Things like Ralbog, Nadarnia, Fenrir, that relies on AoE bleeding and AoE nightmares. Anything that causes AoE burning, and like Lernian too, like the new monster that just came out. Yeah, she counters those monsters, so this is a good one to pick up on. Monkey. Monkey is now in the shop. Monkey is a really decent monster. He really is, due to the fact he can give any kind of AoE immunity, except a whole bunch of stuff actually, but mainly he gives it stun resistance, daze resistance. I think those were the only two though. Those were the only two in terms of that. He has 100% damage reduction, and he has a mega stun. This is huge. This is really huge. The fact that he has a mega stun is so huge. You wouldn't think this thing would have one, but he does. And it's really great. In terms of 2v2 fights, you really bring Monkey to 2v2 fights. That's the main thing you really bring him to. You can bring him to 3v3 fights too. You can play around with like the buffs and stuff like that, and kind of figure out what's the best from there. Ogma. Ogma is not a guarantee, he's almost a guaranteed 3 coins. He can be anyway. I'm not going to say he's completely guaranteed 3 coins, because there are some times where there are sometimes in a situation where his shields can't protect him. So what does Ogma actually do? Ogma actually gives AoE shielding to specific element attacks, depending on which one you used. I can't remember the 2 specific damages that he can't protect from. I don't remember that. It could have been just dark and special. It could have been just dark and special. I don't know if he protects against those, but there are just 2 moves, like one specific element and special damage, and that's actually what hurts him. Special damage is what actually hurts Ogma in terms of securing 3 coins, is if they do a special damaging move, that's the point of bringing them is done if they die. That's the main point with Ogma. Beyond that, though, he is really great at protecting you from specific damage. He's a really great partner. I will say this right now. He's a real. Well, wait, I might not be though. Never mind. I was gonna say a specific monster of what he could be good with, but I don't know if that works. But yeah, Ogma's pretty great. The next one up, I will say the next one up, that is pretty much a guaranteed 3 coins. I will say this, that is pretty much a guaranteed free coin, like full 3 coins, is Queen Lithian, this monster right here. She is pretty close to guaranteed 3 coins. I mean, like pretty close. You have to get rid of the key is you have to get rid of the light monster. That's it. Once you've gotten rid of the light monsters, it's just you having to deal with everything else. Because if you have a comment and stuff like that, if it's really slow, all you have to do is apply the AOE, prevent all damage except from light damage, and you're good to go. You're just good. It's pretty much like space-time. It's the same concept as using Timeron for space-time. You just avoid all damage. You avoid all damage, all AoE damage. Is any form of damage your common is safe from. That's kind of why you bring this monster. It's just to protect them from that. I myself don't have this monster, but it is a really good monster to pick up on. So that is all the light monsters I'm going to talk about. So we're going to move on to the last one. I'm sorry this one is really lacking energy. I'm really apologizing for that. I just ate some Chinese food. So, yeah. Don't have a whole lot of it. A lot of carbs. Metalhead. Metalhead is the Mario. I repeat this one more time. The Mario of metal monsters. I was about to say magic. I would like the tip of my tongue, but I caught myself. He is the Mario of metal monsters. Why do I say this? He's got the most balanced. Like he's got really in terms of just like overall his moves and his stats, they're really balanced. The stats are really high, but his kit mixed with his stuff makes him like he feels like in sync. He's not too heavily strong. He's not too heavy that you can't deal with, and he's not too heavy that he's not too frail that he's not all that great. He's actually really great in all honesty, because he has AoE stun. That's really great. All these moves are special damage too, except his spammable metal move, but that doesn't matter in terms of the metal move, because it also magnetizes, and so it can actually hurt you at some point. AoE stunning, AoE burning, and the other move is completely up to you. It's totally balanced. It's a totally legit monster. He's a really strong monster. A lot of competitive players use him. And that's why I kind of think he's like the staple boy of metal monsters, or at least he's the guy that he's on every single poster board. He is really, in all honesty, he's also the first one. That's what he's really great. It's like the Nintendo. He's like the Mario of metal monsters, and he's not all that bad. He's actually really great. Annihilator R2. I'm going to shout out Annihilator R2, then I'm going to shout out Timeron. Annihilator R2 does a lot of damage. He just does. Annihilator R2 is basically the more offensive Metalhead. You should think of him like that. If you really want a high-end, really high damage, go for Annihilator R2. It wouldn't be a bad idea. He's also got more, I think he had more speed than Metalhead too. I think that was a thing. He just lacks the life. He doesn't have as much life as Metalhead. As long as your comp is literally good supporting, good on supporting, it doesn't matter too much because you shouldn't be letting your attacker die to begin with or taking any form of damage or heavy damage anyway. Timeron. Now, Timeron is a really great way of securing 3 coins. It really is. Mine just isn't built that way. Have you ever seen any of my streams? Have you ever seen me use my Timeron? I have really hard time getting 3 coins. I think I've only managed very few times of securing 3 coins with them. But basically, it's the same concept with Queen Lithian. But I actually don't have them set up like that. I have them set up for dungeon maps. Not the best Timeron in the game. It really isn't. But yeah, Timeron, I will say this is a must monster every monster player should have. Every Monster Legends player in the game need this monster. They absolutely need it. They need it for clearing the adventure maps. And clearing those adventure maps is huge. You have to clear the adventure maps. It's just so important that you do because it gives you a lot of benefits. It gives you a lot of rewards if you take the time to clear them. It's really important that you do this. You could shove probably full life runes on an adventure map build, and then just at some point you can stomach everything and just win at that point. You can clear the maps. You do get experience too. You get experience for the maps too. Keep in mind, like not only just player experience, but like really good stuff too. Like the monsters get leveled up too. You get the food. At some point, you get so much food, and you can get so much monsters done. In fact, a lot of my monsters are done just because of adventure maps. I will say that I've gotten so much food off of adventure maps, it's nuts. I didn't think the rewards like scaled later on, like in the later maps, but they do, and oh wow, they are nice. They are really really nice. So yeah, Tymeron is a must. He is a staple point for adventure maps. He's also good for competitive play. Again, he's really good for competitive play too. And the fact he can secure 3 coins, he can activate cooldowns on everybody. So everybody that are reliant on cooldowns, they're just off now. So now they have to wait. Now they have to wait to use their stuff. I will say, like he's starting. I will say Tymeron is starting to use competitive potential because of the recent monsters that have been coming out lately. This one isn't too recent, but Discopolis. Discopolis especially cripples this Tymeron. Not only are his moves like 0 turn cooldown, he has a move where he removes positive effects. That's really heavy. That is so heavy for Tymeron's kit. Things like Jabeline. Jabeline's really fast. Not only is Jabeline like really fast, so she can outrun him if they're running the same runes. Jabeline will outrun him, so they can do like AoE poison or whatever she wants to do. That's also really heavy. She also runs on really like no cooldowns. Just really heavy stuff Tymeron can't deal with. But again, that also doesn't matter if you're in like team wars and stuff like that. You do space. If this is for like in the situation where you have a common on you, it doesn't matter as long as you can like shield. Like you kill them right away. You have to kill the 0 turn cooldown monsters right away. But basically, you're totally fine from there. At some point, like he can get his ultimate. His ultimate is really powerful. I will say it's the best self-recover in the game because what it does, it automatically heals you. It fully restores your health, and it fully restores your stamina. This is huge. Just because you pretty much have sustaining power. I mean, like if everything goes out right, Tymeron may never die. He may never die. I'm not saying it's impossible to kill this thing. I'm saying he may never die if he gets that ult pretty often. Dad Unit. I want to give a shout out to Dad Unit, not just because he's a really I like him and I have him, I use him and stuff like that. But I really want to shout out to him because he has a lot of neat stuff. There's a lot of neat stuff about Dad that you probably don't know because of his base stats are kind of low too. I mean like the speeds are. I think the speed was decent. The life is really decent. I think not many people are too into his power of 3090, and that's totally fine if you're not into it. I will say if you give this guy some really nice runes, he starts doing a lot of damage, at least in terms of AoE damage. He actually has a 55 damage metal AoE. That might be the strongest metal-based AoE in the game at the moment. I'm not 100% sure, but it's if not the highest metal-based AoE. And it's pretty strong too because he can combo that with magnetism. He's one of the best magnetism. In my opinion, he's one of the best magnetism monsters in the game. Or at least the one that abuses this combo the most. He does so much damage if he can magnetize you that hits you with a 55 damage AoE. It's nuts. Really heavy damage. It's a bonus too because the special damage moves are also on a 0 turn cooldown. They're really nice moves too. It's like a stun and a daze. So you can reduce the damage you take from other metal monsters or just other monsters in general. Really self-sustaining monster. In terms of just just dazing and stuff like that. The life is really nice too. 30k is so nice. In terms of like I guess in terms of metal monsters is well yeah I would think it'd be pretty high, right? It's probably just 1,000 off. He's got a really healthy life. That's something to really note. Oxtex. Okay, I really like Oxtex. I'm gonna give a shout out to Oxtex. In fact, the next 3 these like Oxtex, Mechamancer and Stinger are pretty good ones. Oxtex is really great due to the fact he has all spammable moves except his AoEs. I kid you not, everything he does is spammable. So you can build them however way you want. You can go the magnetism route, I will say. This one also does the magnetism route fairly well. You have the option to do that. Just to keep in mind, you have to be able to magnetize them. It's not meant for every fight, but it's meant for specific fights, so don't put them on defense with a full magnetizing build. It's not a good idea. What you should totally do, if you just want a universal set, do run both special damage moves, and do run the bleed move and the AoE. I will say that's a really great set. Stinger. Oh, I skipped one. I'm going to talk about Mechamancer first. Mechamancer is really great due to the fact he can possess things. This is huge. Essentially, you can possess the enemy Metalhead. Metalheads are really popular monster in defense, and you can possibly deny them, or you can deny them from killing you. Instead, the Metalhead is now in your control, and Metalhead can help you win the fight, or try and help you win the fight. This also works for other monsters that aren't immune to possession. Ironically enough, the monster that came immediately after Mechamancer counters him in terms of yeah, it really does. Which is Stinger. Stinger is really great because he's immune to possession. He's really great for magic fights and upcoming water fights too. He might be possibly really great in Water Wars due to the fact there's going to be a water possessor soon. So that might be interesting to see. He might be. I'm not saying he's a guaranteed, but he'll possibly be seen in Water Wars. Possibly, it's a possibility. I'm not saying people might lean towards it. It's just a possibility. It's a safety option, So we might be seeing more of Stinger. We might be seeing more of that soon. But Stinger is really great. He can do the magnetism combo too. That's an option for him. He runs that he runs that all right. But a lot of people give him crap for it, or at least a lot of people. In fact, a lot of monsters in general. A lot of metal monsters in general that run the magnetism combo, they get a lot of crap for it. Just because people are really tight. It's the same thing with nature's monsters with 30% recovery moves and regeneration. They want to see something different. Sosapunch just producing all the stuff that can do this combo. And they just deem them worthless or just not really all that great. But you don't have to run the magnetism combo. He does have the option not to do that, and he still runs pretty great without it. I believe the universal set is much better than the magnetism set because you get the option to poison too. He's really great at single target dot damage and just single target damage in general. I just did a guide on him. Super Dan. Super Dan's really great. He is also on the sale at the moment. Really neat things about Super Dan, he can do a lot of damage. He has a lot of single target damage and a lot of AoE damage. He's really great in terms of bursting someone down, especially the thing that's not metal. He's got a 70 damage, I think it was like a single turn or 2-turn cooldown move, and it does so much damage. I kid you not, I've had full, I'm just gone. He ran I've seen a few run a full damage set, and the life points are just gone. They are. The damage he deals is really, really nice. The drawback is he does not have an immunity to a deny. He actually has energized, which is actually really great in terms of not running out of stamina. That helps him a lot in terms of just dishing out more damage, or at least get a few more moves in. Arcade. Arcade is out for sale on the week sale. And I gotta get a drink of water. Oof, that was terrible. Arcade's really great. He's got boosted stats still at the moment. They have not fixed that, and they really should. But basically, at the moment, he does have the highest base stats of all metal monsters at the moment. Just due to the fact that he still is bugged with the stats. He's a really great monster too. Even when the stats are gonna be gone, he's still a really great monster. He's got a single target stamina drain move. This combos really well with Deny. It just so extraordinarily well. He also combos that with a 50% stamina drain, which is also really huge and combos really well again with Deny. He has stuns. He has a single target stun move. He can do the magnetism combo. Don't do it. Don't do the magnetism combo. It's on this thing. It's just not all that great. Run Galaga. I highly recommend Galaga. Totally do that. But yeah, beyond that, there's not much to him. Really great monster overall. Really nice moves. Stats are still boosted. Again, the best base stats right now at the moment in the game, just due to being bugged. That's just the way he is at the moment. The Sentinel. The Sentinel is really great. I don't think he's on the sale. He has AoE possession, AoE magnetism, double like damage for 3 turns, but then explodes. Really neat one. Again, I'm not, I guess I did say in the beginning I wasn't going to mention any of these monsters that aren't on sale, so I'm going to follow that for the rest of this video. And seeing the rest of this, I do believe... okay, Terrorizer. Terrorizer's pretty neat, due to the fact he can give himself double damage, then follow that up with a really heavy either single target move or he can do his AoE. He's pretty much got the self buff going on, self double damage buff going on, and it's really nice. And I do believe that's it. I am going to be splitting up these categories or videos into separate parts. Like if you're looking for metal monsters or like fire monsters, specifically, I'm going to have that all like edited and put that out for everyone to view. Again, I really apologize that this wasn't as high as enthusiasm as the last few videos, or the last two. I just don't know why this one was kind of like low luster and energy, probably because I ate something. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm Dib the Awesome, and I'll catch you guys later.